What is going on, guys? WWE 2K25. This is my review of the game, the whole package, right? The good and the bad thus far. And I've had the game like about a week. Tomorrow will make 1 week, so very close to a week, right? Okay, so let's get into it. I'm gonna start off with the bad in this game. Now, the bad in this game are some of it is some of the bugs and glitches, and then there's also the creator wrestler problems that we still have. Even though they patched it as of 1.05, they fixed the issue with the items on the clothes, the images. You can now select the material for them now. So they are fixing images. I mean, they are fixing some of the problems in Creator Wrestler. The face paint thing is not really fixed. Not sure if that's going to be fixed. Now, that specifically is not really a huge thing for me specifically. I don't really use face paint, to be honest. I really haven't. I looked at all my created wrestlers in 2K24. I don't have not one guy with face paint. I'm not a big face paint person. However, that's just me personally. That doesn't affect how I look at the whole game because, I'm demonstrating this to other players. So that does mean something. And I do think that is something that should definitely be addressed. Now, while I'm talking about it, let me go ahead and display the details as to what I'm talking about when I say that. Okay? I'm basically talking about the one layer face paint thing that they are doing this year that they have not done in the other games, but now they're doing it this year, where you would previously be able to use this or something and then add another layer on top of it to create two different, but you can't do that anymore. And you can't use images as face paint anymore. Now, there's a way around that. You could do face tattoos and use images. There is one issue with that, though, and I'll talk about that in a different video. I'll just explain it briefly here. Basically, if you put this on your guy's face, you won't be able to delete it later. After you save the wrestler, you won't be able to delete it later. So let me explain exactly what I'm talking about. So if I put this on my guy's face and I save it, and I save the wrestler, and I come back. See, right now I could delete it, but if I save the wrestler and come back, I will not be able to delete that. I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what I'm talking about so that you understand me fully. Okay, so I didn't want to use that created wrestler because that's one of my created wrestlers, and what I'm about to do is going to ruin the wrestler, and once I ruin him, I will not be able to fix him, okay? But let me get into it here. Okay, so I'm going to go to attire. Let me show you. And that's why I had to switch to a new wrestler because I'm just going to erase him anyway after I do this. But anyway, if I go to face tattoo and I add this, let me just add this to his face. Okay, so I added that to his face. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. Let me show you something because I'm getting ready. I gotta actually take it off, and then I'm gonna clone his attire to here. Okay, then I'm gonna actually add the tattoo to his face here. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by your created wrestler is going to be ruined if you try to use a face image as face paint because you will not be able to delete that off later. That is a permanent decision, just like a real tattoo. It's literally a tattoo. You're not taking it off, okay? You're not going to do it. Okay, so as you can see, when I go here, I can delete that if I want to. Now watch what happens after I save the wrestler. So I've saved the wrestler and I load it back into him. Now watch this. When I go to attire and I go, see, as you can see, this one has the tiger on his face, this one doesn't. which proves that that's not really a tattoo, right? It's just, okay, so when I go here and I go here, as you can see, it's not even showing up as a face tattoo. It's not even here. So if you put any tattoos on your wrestlers' faces, you cannot delete it later. It becomes a part of that wrestler. Now, this doesn't account for other body parts like your back, legs, arms, torso. You put tattoos and images there. You could delete them later, but you cannot delete from the face. They don't even show up on here. They become part of the guy's flesh basically. But as you can see, both attires don't both have them. But anyway, that's kind of like one detail that I want to share with you guys about this game. There's little stuff like that is still not really so good about the game. Okay, and while we're talking about stuff that's not good, the locked items. There's a lot of locked stuff in this game. There's a lot of locked stuff. And I'm okay with the locked items in my Rise and Showcase, but the microtransaction VC stuff, that definitely bothers me. I think there's a lot of that stuff on here. Now, for me personally, a lot of that stuff is stuff that I don't even want. A lot of it is stuff that I do want, and I have purchased some of the stuff because the version of the game that I got came with 100,000 VC, so I never buy VC for any game, right? So that's basically, and I'm just logging into this character just to give you like a brief example of just showing you a little bit how much, look at all this locked t-shirts. A lot of this stuff is locked. And a lot of it is on the island. You have to go purchase these shirts at those stores. And for me, a lot of this stuff ain't even worth it. It's some of these shirts ain't even shirts that I would even care about using anyway. So I don't necessarily care about it, but I do think it's a bad thing. And I think it is going to turn some people off. So you do have that going on with the game, which I would say is not really a good thing. That you have to purchase these items just to unlock them. Again, I'm not horribly concerned about it because most of that stuff is stuff that I don't even want to use anyway. So there's that, stuff like that are kind of hindering the game a little bit. Okay, so I'm basically just going into my review of the game altogether. My faction, I don't play my faction. I don't like it. I never liked it. I just don't see how that's even enjoyable. I just absolutely don't like it. The showcase mode this year is actually pretty good. I never enjoy these. This one is actually good. The storyline is decent. It's pretty cool so far. I didn't finish it yet, but it's actually fairly enjoyable. The island, when I was playing it, it wasn't functioning correctly. I was doing some of the objectives and it was saying that I wasn't, so I just basically backed out of it. Now, they did patch the game since I've tried it. Maybe it's fixed. We're at patch 1.05 now, so I would have to try it again. So, and that's another bad thing about it. The game had a lot of problems, a lot of crashes, a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, and this day and age, a lot of games are released like that. That's just the way of the times right now with gaming. A lot of games do come out like that. You have to give a game a month or so, maybe some cases even longer, to get fully fixed. Now, the gameplay, as far as the new wrestling moves, I was underwhelmed. Usually, each WWE 2K game, they have a huge upgrade with moves. Like, they add a lot of incredible new moves. This year, I was a little underwhelmed. I was underwhelmed by it. It didn't really, here's your new moves. And I'm not going to look at every last one of them, but there wasn't really too many moves that jumped out at me as incredibly good moves. I mean, a lot of these moves are moves that were kind of already in it. They just have another version of it. This is a good move. I really did do like this. I think that giant wrestler uses that. I can't remember his name. Like stuff like this, these are moves that were kind of already in it, but they just had a different look, a little bit of a different look. So, yeah, I would say as far as adding new moves, this is probably the most disappointed I've ever been. And I'm not disappointed with the moves in the game. I'm used to, WWE 2K releasing a game and then having these incredibly new moves, like moves that you just never seen before. This year, that ain't really the case. I mean, there is a little bit of moves like that right there, but it's not really. I was a little underwhelmed by it. Again, that's a pretty good move. And I'm not saying there's nothing good. Some of this stuff is pretty cool. That's decent. But I was underwhelmed by it. I want to be overwhelmed and excited and look at these moves and say, oh my goodness, they got some incredible new moves on here. But that just isn't the case. So that's one downside that I have for the game. At this point, I'm a little bit disappointed, not terribly disappointed, but I was hoping for a lot more moves added to the game, but I didn't get that. Okay, so those are the bad things about the game. I talked about some of the bugs, glitches, the issues with customization. They are fixing a lot of the problems. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that I've even talked about might be changed later anyway. Now let's talk about the good. The match types, the underground match. The underground match in this is very good. I love the underground match. I did not know that you could change the rules when you play your underground match and add the pinfall. You could do pinfall and submission and turn KO off and just have a regular match. I had no idea you could do that. Turn DQ off and, all this stuff you can add to it. Of course, you can change your weapons and whatnot. That is really, really cool. The underground match is incredibly awesome. You might say, well, it's just a match with no ropes. It's not really that big of a deal, but I really like the effect of the audience standing ringside, or some members of the audience anyway, and you can use created arenas. For some reason, I thought you would not be able to do that. I thought you were going to be stuck using the NXT Underground just because of the type of ring it is, and I was wrong about that. The underground match is a very good addition. The special guest referee match, they've added all these different types of matches. So basically, with all these match types, you can basically now create referees. You pretty much can. You can create a wrestler and just use him as guest referees, him or her, and just say that is a referee on our roster. So yes, you can do that on here. And that right there is really setting the game, putting this game on another level. Just the fact that they added that, the bloodline rules. I have not really tried that. It sounds pretty incredible. I heard it was bugged. It was like something wrong with it right now and it's not functioning well. I'll try it out later. Hopefully it's fixed by the time I try it out. The backstage brawl is really, really cool in this. You have all these different areas to choose from. You can even do 8 people back there with illuminations on, male and female. You could really do this game basically in WWE 2K25. I feel like they're really making it almost to the point where it's like anything goes. Man, woman, 8-man, 5-man, 6-man, whatever you want. Backstage, this, that, hell in a cell, gender, doesn't matter. You can do, it's just anything goes this year. And that's basically the direction they went in. And that is one thing I absolutely really love about this game. We're not drawing the line anywhere. We're just kind of saying, look, just take the game, play it however you feel like it. Whatever match type you want, whatever you could do, cross-gen, do whatever you want to do. Change the rules to any of these types of match. And then your backstage brawl has all these really cool areas that you can go to. You even got this. It's almost like an underground rules type deal, but it's a WrestleMania ring, but it has no ropes and stuff like that. The backstage, they really did an excellent job this year. They have, I think this one here where you can kind of run into a lot of stuff and knock a lot of stuff over and just make a mess backstage with 8 people if you want to. I mean, they really, really are pushing this game to a really high level right now. So that to me, with the match types, the way you can manipulate the matches, the rules, the use whatever intergender matches, you can do just about anything you want in this game. That is an incredible thing that they've added to the game, and I really, really like this game. Now, I will tell you this. This game, 2K25, I think 2K is putting the wrestling genre out of reach. You have other wrestling games coming out pretty soon, and I look forward to those games, especially, I think it's called Ultra Pro Wrestling or something like that. I look forward to that one. The AEW, I got to be honest, I don't even touch that anymore. That AEW is not touching this. I mean, it's just not even it's not even close. They're just not. There's just like no reason to even touch that AEW game at this point. I just don't even touch it. And then you got, of course, and a lot of these, matches were already in the game. Of course, you go and carry them over to this one. The gauntlets are really, really awesome addition to last year. I enjoyed a lot of gauntlet matches. So my Rise is a lot better than I thought it would be. I usually don't even care about that stuff, but it's actually fairly enjoyable. I'm not a GM guy. I don't care about that. I'm hearing people say that, and I looked at Universe Mode a little bit. It's improved a lot. I will tell you, I'm very, very happy with this product this year. I'm very happy with WWE 2K25. And the things that I'm not happy about, I feel like are probably going to get fixed. Well, the microtransactions in the island, they're not going to fix any of that. I mean, that's not something they're going to fix because that's not broken. That is intentionally made that way. And while we're talking about the island, let's go ahead and I have not had any island matches. And honestly, it's unlikely that I will have any matches. And as you can see, they fixed the load times and stuff like that. Yes, I did buy a few things at some of these stores. The costume he's wearing now, I bought that. And that's another issue. You cannot change the colors of the any type of attire that you purchase from the island. From what I understand, all the ones that I've purchased, you can't change the colors of none of them. You just kind of leave it the way it is. That's not really a good thing. I'm hoping that gets fixed. Now, here's one thing I noticed. You see this guy walking down the street? I seen that same guy in a in an underground match. He was one of the guys that was surrounding the ring. So that's something you can look out for. You're going to see some of those same people walking around back here. And if it's not the same person, it's going to be somebody wearing the same clothes or somebody looks a little bit different. But yeah, and that's a cool thing, I guess. I mean, it's no big deal, right? It's pretty cool, but just thought I'd mention that. And of course, you got your stores and stuff like that. But I just wanted to kind of go into the island mode just to show you that the load time is very, very good now. They've pretty much fixed that stuff. But yeah, my overall thoughts about this game are very, very high. Very high. I'm very high on WWE 2K25. I'm very, very pleased with this product. And like I said, I believe some of the other stuff that's kind of holding the game back with some of the problems, some of that stuff is going to get fixed anyway. But, if I put a number on this, I'm going to go 9.5. I'm almost at a 10 with WWE 2K25. I'm almost at a 10. And the thing that keeps me from giving it a 10 are those things that I mentioned on the bad. Those things are keeping me from bringing it all the way to a 10. WWE 2K25 for me is 9.5. WWE 2K24 for me was like an 8.5. So this is definitely an excellent product, in my opinion. Okay, even though there's stuff I don't like here, I don't care about my faction. And I told you the negative stuff. But for me, if you were asking me if I want to recommend this game, I would definitely say this